Talking last year with Bryce Tennyson, asked him about the young offensive lineman. He singled you out, talking about your promise, your potential, and said you were still lost a little bit because it takes a while to learn. And he said you will be for a while, even coming into this year. Do you still feel lost at times?
No. And the reason being is just the preparation I put in during the off season of making sure I know all the calls, all the plays, every look we're going to get. And then obviously Coach Paulson, Coach Jones, everybody have done a really good job of making sure I know I'm doing every week and making sure we get a lot of repetition and making sure that we know what we're doing. So no, I don't really feel lost anymore at all.
Garrett Gilbert was talking about how more young offensive linemen are getting on the field these days because high school offenses and blocking schemes are getting more sophisticated. How complex was yours, and how different is what you're doing now compared to what you did in high school?
Actually, in high school, we ran like two different blocking systems. We ran, and actually we switched in the middle of a game. It's kind of funny. At halftime, we went from it was a spread, 3-foot wide split offense to at halftime switching to a 6-inch split running offense. So we ran a lot of zone blocking schemes in high school, which was complex. It's kind of the same stuff we run here. A little bit less complicated as far as the looks we're getting from defense in high school and stuff, but the pass protection in high school was a little different because we just ran slide protection. So the biggest thing was coming here and running more of a pro style pass protection scheme instead of just running slide protection all the time. So that was probably the more complicated part of it was making sure you have all the calls and recognizing fronts and making sure you know where safeties are at and where you're getting pressure from in the format side. So
when you talk to skill position guys, they often say the biggest adjustment going from high school to college is the speed. On the offensive line, where you're not out running sprints, what's the biggest adjustment? Is it the power of the guys you're going against, or simply the terminology and the schemes you're facing? What's the biggest difference for you?
I would say so. I mean, it's kind of weird. It almost the game doesn't really feel much different than high school as far as you kind of zone in. You're just one-on-one. But the thing is every week you're going against guys who are probably just as strong as you are. I mean, and they're physical and big. And high school, I go against guys sometimes who are like 5'7", 200 pounds, and it's not really, you don't get that in college. I mean, you got defensive ends who are 6'4", 6'5", 250 pounds, linebackers who are really big and physical. So that's more of it, is just the physicality and the having to bring it every play and every game.
One of the things you've dealt with is, as the center, you're sort of the quarterback of the offensive line. And there are a lot of new parts on the line this year, but you're playing with all juniors and seniors. What's that like, being a redshirt freshman and making calls for all these veteran guys around you?
I mean, you kind of gotta take the age out of it. You gotta be confident that you know what you're doing just as much as everyone else, and everyone's help too. I mean, anytime I have a question or had a problem with a call or in any practice or a game or anything, it's really nice to have Free and Blake next to me to help out. And it's nice having the guys who are juniors and seniors around you to help you out. But like I said, you kind of just got to take age out of it. You got to be confident in the fact that you know what you're doing and you can compete with anyone else.
When you mentioned those veteran guys on either side of you, Jordan Free on your left, Blake McJunkin on your right, are you relying on them more in practice and in the meeting rooms, or is there conversation going on during games where they give you a nudge and point something out to you?
Well, obviously you have to communicate in every aspect. I mean, we're always constantly communicating. It's not like it's just I'm making one call, I'm looking at one thing and telling what to do. It's a combined effort, but when it comes down to it, my job is to make sure that everyone's on the same page. And I know in the last game we had an issue with that. It was on me where I would tell the backside what we were doing and the front side was left out, and some of the run plays it affected us. But that's just something I got to get better at and got to keep working on every week, is just making sure that all 5 guys are on the same page. But yeah, I mean, in the game, if someone shifts real quick, or if we have something just before the snap, it's a combined effort a lot of times of making sure we have the right guys and stuff.
Last year, obviously, as a red shirt, you're still in there watching film with all your teammates. Teams are scouting you guys as much as you scout them, and they know there's a young guy in the middle.
Yeah.
Based on what you've seen on film this year compared to last year, are teams trying to disguise more things, maybe in an effort to confuse you?
Like you said earlier about me being confused last year is I watched video last year and I kind of didn't really know what I was looking at specifically. I mean, so I couldn't really tell. And I watch some of the old film of them last year now. I think they're still running the same stuff. I think that they're still doing the same. Defenses don't change; they do the same thing. They're very consistent. Most coaches the same way. So I don't think they've really done anything to disguise any looks or anything.
So much was made last year about the 5 seniors on the offensive line who had been there forever together. Now that you've got a handful of games under your belt, you've looked at film, you've sat in there with Coach Palcic, how would you evaluate the performance of the offensive line so far this season?
This season, we played well. I think obviously a lot of work still to be done. We only played 5 games now, so just continue to get better every week. Making sure we, like I said, continue to communicate and make sure everyone's on the same page is a very big emphasis that we're going to this week and from now on. But I think we played well. I mean, obviously you're going to have things here and there that are bad. We also have really good things, but for the most part, I think we've done well and held our own. So
you start looking at Tulane, who you face this weekend. Coach Jones has been saying they have a very good defensive front four. What's the biggest challenge you as an offensive line face from Tulane?
Biggest thing is they have some exotic looks and some exotic stunts. They NFL had an NFL coach, or have an NFL coach, coaches coach in the NFL. So a lot of their defensive schemes are very complex. They run some different stunts that I mean, obviously nothing like UTEP. UTEP ran some really exotic stunts, but the stunts they run at Tulane are they just run some wide stunts, and they move a lot of guys around. So the biggest thing is going to be passing stunts off and staying on the right people.
Now, the other thing Bryce Tennyson singled out about you was the beard. And I think he said something about how you could grow a full beard in an hour and a half or something like that. Is this something that's going to carry on the whole season?
I believe so. I got the hair going now too. The hair's a little longer now too. So I don't know. I think it's funny. I think it's fun. You're only in college once, so I can't do this when I'm out of college. So I just like to. I think it's funny. I like it. Keeps me warm in the winter too. So.
Who gives you the most grief? Coaches, teammates, family? Mom.
Family. I got to hear from my grandmother when she sees on TV that I have this big nasty beard, and my dad just is kind of. He's not. I don't know. He just thinks it looks stupid, but I mean, they're probably the ones giving me the most grief. Everyone here usually just thinks it's cool, and the whole. A lot of my friends have beards too, like Goshawk and Connor and Spike. They all have beards, and Mike, and everybody has a little beard going. But I gotta say mine's the best. But